So far, this seems to be a pretty divisive film. What's up, you guys? It's Jonathan Carter, and today we're going to be talking about A24's newest film, Civil War.
God bless America.
Written and directed by Alex Garland. Alex Garland is the director of Ex Machina, Annihilation, another A24 movie, Men. Actually, I think those are all A24 movies. And he also, I believe, is a credited writer on 28 Days Later, which is true, actually. I don't know if you're listening. Just a little background. I did not like Ex Machina. I really didn't like Annihilation. I never saw Men. Let me know if I should see that one. I heard some pretty mixed things on it. But 28 Days Later, one of my top favorite movies of all time. Potentially top 5 movies of all time. So pretty big range of how I feel about Alex Garland. Now, where does Civil War fall on that list of Alex Garland films? We're going to talk about all of that with the positives. Right off the bat, this is an incredibly unique take on war. Normally, war movies are from the perspective of a soldier in the middle of war, a general. Instead of being from one of those perspectives, Civil War is from the perspective of journalists. The entire movie, you are watching 4 journalists travel across the United States, documenting war, trying to get to DC to interview the president, and it just creates such a fresh and vibrant take on a war movie. It's still definitely first and foremost a movie about war, and you see some terrible atrocities in this film. Civil War does not shy away from showing what war is capable of. This is definitely a hard R movie. The movie is able to create beautiful cinematography in this alongside very haunting cinematography as well. Going into the movie, I was not expecting it to be from such a creative angle. I didn't really know what to expect going into it, but that was not on my list. Going into the themes of the movie, I saw this with my fiance, and for the first maybe 60% of the film, we did not move in the theater. I did not take my eyes away from the screen. From the beginning, Civil War has just such a heavy weight to the film, this dread of war in not even just the United States, but just war in general. I mean, for the majority of the film, that feeling does not let up. It is tense, it is harrowing, it's heartbreaking, and it is putting you in the face of war. Also, in its unique perspective on war, the movie follows 4 journalists that are all in different aspects of their lives. So you get this full range of emotions on war and just the world in just these 4 people. Kirsten Dunst, who's amazing here as the main protagonist, and she's hardened, she's lived this life of journalism, she's seen the atrocities. But on the flip side of that, you have the best perspective, in my opinion, this younger girl who plays so well off of Kirsten Dunst. I haven't seen her in anything, but she was fantastic. She brings that youthful, hungry, wants to be this journalist, and the dynamic of her wanting that, playing off Kirsten Dunst, kind of telling her, no, you don't want this life, but then this young girl is able to soften up Kirsten Dunst and get her to remember why she got into journalism. So just that dynamic between the 4 core main characters, superb, truly superb. The last thing I want to talk about here in the positives, Jesse Plemons. Dude, ever since seeing Jesse Plemons in Breaking Bad and that one crazy Black Mirror episode, anytime I see Jesse Plemons show up on the screen, I'm just let's go. Jesse Plemons has one scene in this movie that is just such a standout moment. And if you've seen this movie, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And there is no denying that is a top moment in this film. I don't know how he does it, but he brings this different kind of takes to his characters and the delivery. And if you've seen Game Night, that Tostito, the How can that be profitable for Tostito Lays? Or he is just like on the rise in his career, and he will start being recognized as like an all-time great actor. Moving us into the mixed category, there's no denying that this movie is going to be not only polarizing, but incredibly divisive. If you're going into this movie expecting to see why the United States is in a civil war, more aspects on war itself, and an action-packed war film, you're not really gonna get that. That's not what this movie is. And to me, that's not necessarily a bad thing, but to a lot of people, it is, and that's totally fine. This movie does not pick sides. It does not give you a clear, this is what you should believe, this is what you should not believe. The movie is not interested in telling you why the United States is in a civil war or which side is for what. It is completely unbiased. And honestly, is that the safest route to take? Yes, but is that the best route? That's such a complicated question, because some people will say, no, that's not sufficient enough, because like if you're gonna make a movie about Civil War and about America, especially in an election year, you should have more to say in your movie. And I totally get that point, but I also understand maybe I just wanna watch a movie that is about the United States in a civil war from the take of journalists, just documenting war, going through their own life journeys, traumas, things like that. That for me was enough. For my fiance, it wasn't. So I can completely understand why people would be divided on this film. The other thing in the mixed aspect here, I feel that there are some scenes that, like one in particular, didn't really belong in the movie. I didn't feel like it offered anything. It kind of slowed the pacing down. But then I watched Sean Chandler's review on this movie. If you have not checked him out, I definitely recommend it. He is like such a great channel, but also such a good review on this film. He explained it very well, as there was a reason that that scene was in the movie, because it showed that there were two like opposing sides fighting in this scene. They were fighting each other for reasons that they didn't even know. They didn't know who they were fighting on the other side of this field. They didn't know who the guy was. If it even was a guy, it could have been a woman. They have no idea who it was. They were just in the mindset of, we are gonna fight, we are in a war, and this is what I'm doing. So from that perspective, I completely understand, but I completely get it, and it added more to it than when I originally saw the movie. But narrative-wise, keeping up the pace of the film, it still dragged a little bit, but I do have that different look on it now. That's why it's now in the mixed category and not in the negatives where I was originally gonna put it. And speaking of that, we are gonna go into the negatives. The movie does not stick the landing. I'm not gonna go into spoilers here of what happens at the end, but after that one scene that I'm talking about, I feel like that's like maybe 75% through the film. I think the movie just lost its narrative kind of spin and through line. It just, I don't feel like the ending did the movie any service. That's the biggest issue, actually. That is the issue I had with Annihilation. I was very invested in that movie, and then the end was just like completely left field for me. That's not the problem here with Civil War. The ending with Civil War is just, it doesn't fit narratively to me. It's just kind of like, it's a very obvious kind of grab, and just nothing that is like tasteful in the same sense as where the rest of the movie came from. The last thing here in the negatives, the trailer for this movie, it was falsely marketed. You can see very clearly that the trailer was kind of trying to pump this movie, advertise this movie as like a action-packed, like war thriller, like intense like shootout after intense shoot. Like, that's not what the movie is. So there was some very clear dishonest marketing here, and I know they're trying to get like people to see the movie, and they're trying to get the money and advertise it that way, but that is such a disservice, one, not only to what the movie is, but two, also to your audience. Like, don't mislead people that way. That's not cool. That's not okay. All in all, with that being said, my final thoughts on the film. The movie is good enough. You are going to enjoy it if you realize that it's not a like hardcore action war film, and also that it's not going to create a clear political divide. If you can just sit back, watch the film, you will enjoy it. All that being said, I'm gonna give Civil War a 7.5 out of 10. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you like this review, I have a lot more reviews on my channel. Be sure to check me out on Instagram and TikTok and Twitter or X or whatever it is now. I post shorter reviews on Instagram and TikTok that are like a minute long, like right out of the theater, just get the reviews out. Please be sure to like and subscribe. That would really help me out a lot. Give me all your opinions on Civil War down below in the comments. Did you love it? Did you hate it? Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you all on the next one.